Hello, everyone. This Spectator Minyaner for how to give feedback in shul is dedicated to the memory of Lucy Maya and Rina D. Zichronam Livracha. So many of you have asked me, what is the proper way to quote-unquote tell off people? Namely, if you see something wrong in shul, or if you see something that can be improved, or you can see something that is totally and utterly ridiculous, all the various things that we dealt with in this forum. How do you convey it to the person? We all know very well that none of us like to receive criticism. None of us likes to receive constructive feedback, but constructive feedback that's a bit negative. So what is the proper way to do it? On the one hand, we don't want to hurt anyone. But on the other hand, if we don't say anything, then nothing will ever be improved. And therefore, I'd like to start this week by giving my own rules in this regard and what I personally do, which I think is balanced, which I think, on the one hand, preserves the dignity of the individual, and yet on the other hand, tries, to the best of my abilities, to improve things that I see in various places. And the first rule of today is never, ever give any sort of feedback right away. An impulse is usually not something you should act on, but rather, if you see something amazingly positive or amazingly negative in shul, my advice is go home, drink water, then drink a little more water, think about it for a day or two, and Monday and onwards, if you saw it on Shabbos, that's the time to write to the individual or to talk to the individual, depending on the case. If you give something out of impulse, it usually doesn't help. First of all, the person will become defensive. If you say, that was amazing, he'll say, it wasn't so good. As opposed to continuing it next week, he'll go ahead and say, it was all right. If, on the other hand, you say something negative, it becomes defensive. Just think about the following. When you're on the road and you're speeding beyond the speed limit, and there's a police officer parked on the side of the road with his siren on, what do? Most of us will slow down until we don't see that particular police officer in his car in our rearview mirror, and then we'll continue speeding. That doesn't teach you how to drive carefully. That doesn't educate you how to drive in a careful manner, but rather through education, through courses, not on the road when you're doing it, but when you're home thinking and contemplating about it, that would be the time to actually approach the individual. So my first rule in this regard, you want to give feedback? Wait 2 days. If it's important enough for you, you will say it, and it will be important enough for the receiver to feel that indeed it was important enough for you to wait. And therefore, you went out of your way 2-3 days later to tell him this or that. He may take it much more to heart. Wishing everyone a wonderful day.